Three. Ah, there's no combination of colors more beautiful than that.
So there she is, the Dolphin's Rune. Since we're having to load this thing off disk, I just did a quick fast forward there just to get through the loading. And here we are. We are the Dolphin.
Okay.
And we are surrounded by fish.
Mm-hmm.
So you say there's an interesting story behind the creation of this game. It'll probably be more interesting than this playthrough. So what is this interesting story?
Well, there's a famous research project, I believe, from the 60s concerning, or started in the 60s with the studying dolphins and trying to understand how intelligent they are and whatnot. And that led to a whole bunch of, I don't want to call it, well, it's pseudoscience ideas of, what dolphins can and can't do. It's basically also the origin of the whole dolphin thing in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Right.
And it's actually the same research that also inspired Ecco the dolphin. And it's kind of weird that this fascination with, dolphins are intelligent. Oh, I see what's going on here. You're avoiding the red stuff, aren't you? Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if the red stuff's bad or not, but it did seem very red and angry.
Yeah, I believe the red stuff is actually the sea current, which is what you're supposed to be going into to start moving faster.
That's useful. Moving fast is useful.
It's going to lead you into other sections of the ocean. So by escaping it, it basically was probably trying to get closer. See, it keeps trying to find you.
It's like, no, go towards the light. No, don't go towards the light, Ecco.
Yeah. But I honestly have never played this myself. I just ran across it. I can't remember which magazine reviewed it, but they were just absolutely flabbergasted by this.
Yeah.
The idea of it, the amazing graphics. The graphics were lauded to high hell.
Yeah, so notice now, I just wanted to pause. Notice how things just got lighter. I realized that actually as you go towards the surface, things get lighter, and as you go deeper, they get darker, the background, to simulate that you're moving up and down through the depth until you break the surface. And then you can use the button to jump. That's about the only other control I could find other than just moving around.
Yeah. Also, if you don't go up every 10 minutes, you'll die.
Yes. But this is 7 minutes in heaven, so that doesn't matter.
Bingo. Yeah.
But yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Obviously didn't have a problem. And yeah, I mean, I can see why people were intrigued by the graphics at the time. I mean, some of the fish are better drawn than others. I mean, those rays there look like they're, like virus globules or something. But there are an incredible variety of fish, even if some of them are drawn better than others. Certainly a very big variety of different kinds of things moving around for that time, I think it's fair to say.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the variety, I mean, this is sort of showing people figuring out the Commodore 64 for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Playing with the colors, the fact that you've got the sprites as well as the character graphics, figuring out, how much can you put on a single scan line? I mean, just look at the water effects of moving at different layers, giving it a certain amount of depth.
Exactly.
There's also, if you make it down to that red flow, it's good. And I watched a video of this. Then it'll start taking you to other areas, and then you can actually move into the depth. So then there's going to be sort of a Space Harrier section where you see the dolphins solely from behind, and you're dodging stuff as you're moving towards the next destination.
Interesting. Yeah, I never got that far, of course, in my 7 minutes here. We're mostly just going to be swimming around the tutorial area, I think. But yeah, I mean, those turtles are okay looking turtles. I mean, you can tell they're sea turtles.
True. The fish there's okay, you can tell the occasional stopping where
But
it's
yeah,
trying to figure out what
the kind of diseased pizza look of the rays when you have the top view is a bit off-putting, but I mean they're doing what they can.
yeah.
They're doing what
Yeah,
they can.
definitely.
And I mean
Definitely.
it's at least in emulation. Obviously I'm not playing on original hardware, but at least in emulation, I mean it's flicker free. It's not suffering from slowdowns. The transitions between the water depths and the changing colors are very smooth. So I mean, that counts for something. There's a lot of animation going on there, and it's not flickering and it's not stuttering. So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Now here we go. Here is he going to get into the stream? No, he's going to bypass the stream.
I didn't realize. I mean, I realized it seemed like it had to be. No, I'm not defending I'm just saying I'm not being defensive. I'm just saying I figured there had to be something going on with those swirly things because I mean it was something different, but I was not expecting it to be key to my traversal. So now I've decided to just go see how low can you go. It's getting kind of dark down there. Now, unfortunately, the fish don't really change. It would have been kind of cool if they had different fish. Now, yeah, here's something that just kind of randomly showed up.
Okay. Definitely a cave system.
That's what it seems to be, is a cave system. So there's definitely some other hidden stuff in here. But that's not important now. But it would have been cool if they had different types of fish at different depths instead of just repeating the same ones at every depth. But I mean, we're already asking a lot of a Commodore 64. So, I mean, it's probably not fair to ask for even more. Let's face it.
Especially in 1984. I mean,
exactly, early Commodore 64.
It's early Commodore 64. I mean, had they made this game just a couple years later, it would have been a whole different ballgame.
Absolutely.
But then again, a couple years later, they wouldn't have been making this type of game for the most part.
Yes.
The experimental phase was over, and it was action shooters or whatever.
Yeah, scrolling shooters, lots and lots of scrolling shooters. Because the Commodore 64 scrolled well and could put lots of sprites on the screen, and so scrolling shooters, hooray!
Now I gotta ask, since you also did the 7 Minutes in Heaven for Ecco the Dolphin, obviously in both games we did not really succeed. Okay, something just happened.
Yeah, I got hit. I know because I looked up afterwards. I know that sharks can come after you, so. I assume I was hit by a shark, but I don't know why that one time something decided to collide with me and never at any other time did they. But obviously I survived it. And having made it to the surface, that's the end.
Excellent. So how would you compare the control and the feel of the two games?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, Ecco the Dolphin definitely has more interesting controls with a better feel. I mean, like I said, it's impressive that this one, doesn't hitch, doesn't stutter, doesn't flicker. But I think part of the trade-off for that is it does move at a fairly slow speed. And I don't think, because I did try some buttons. I don't think there's a way. I mean, maybe the currents speed you up, like you said, but I don't think there's a way just with the controls that you can actually speed the Dolphin up. Whereas Ecco the Dolphin, you can get a nice big head of steam going and then, take a nice big jump out of the water. And, you don't have that kind of feel in this one, certainly. And that's just down to the time period and the technology available.
Yeah. Now, if I remember correctly, this does end up with this whole concept of aliens and stuff again, just like Ecco does. Yeah. Again, it's coming from the same weird place. But yes. I'm looking at the cover art right now. It's the Dolphin's Rune, A Poetic Odyssey.
Yeah, and again, just like with Ecco, there's this whole calling it a new age vibe is probably not fair, but kind of this whole kind of hippy dippy, we make love with the dolphin kind of vibe to it, and it's like there was, so I mean, there was something. I mean, obviously, with scientific research that, as you said, that was inspiring this fascination with the dolphins. But clearly, for a certain subgroup of people, and I mean, I'm not really mocking them for this, but there was something almost spiritual that it feels like that they pulled out of that scientific analysis and discovery. I think that's true in both the case of Ecco and Dolphin's Rune.
Yeah, I'm just reading a quick description here off of the Internet Archive. We'll repeat this in the episode too, but the player must find a color current below the surface, a sort of tunnel through which their dolphin must swim without being pushed out by the strong current. That's the Space Harrier type thing. Stay sort of in the middle. Success is rewarded with a visual insight, in parentheses, dream, into the meaning of life and dolphin lore. This is accompanied by a particular pattern of dolphin clicks and whistles that is important to remember. Okay. Then you have to find a particular color current in the ocean. That's why there were different colors. From which emanates the click and whistle phrase heard in the dream. So there's probably, if we're listening to it, there's little clicks when you get close to those currents. Successfully swimming through this color current leads the dolphin to the seabed. There, the player must find a mysterious rune, which might be a particular fish or piece of coral reef, and touch it. This releases a fragment of hieroglyph that appears on the bottom of the screen. The player must then arrange the hieroglyphic characters in the proper order using the Dolphinese English dictionary found in the printed manual. Doing so correctly leads to another visual insight sequence and a new click and whistle phrase. The player then finds the next corresponding color current, seabed rune, and hieroglyph fragment, and so on until all 9 hieroglyph fragments are found and solved.
So is this a dolphin simulator, or is this a hallucinogenic mushroom trip simulator?
It's actually one of those weird treasure hunt game marketing schemes, because apparently if you got them all together, it gave you clues to where in real life there was an actual pearl hidden somewhere in America.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah,
do you think that's, I don't know the answer to this, and you might not either, but do you think that's why they renamed it from the Dolphin's Pearl to the Dolphin's Rune? Because there's probably a point where that, quest, real life, prize probably expired. And I wonder if they changed the name so that it wouldn't continue to be associated with that at a later date.
Yeah. Well, and also it goes from one publisher to the next.
It does.
So it's called Dolphin's Pearl by a Creative Pastime from the Rest and Computer Group, but the later version is published by Mindscape. Right, and I'm sure that Mindscape was not going to be interested in all of that nonsense.
I am sure. Yeah. So that's very interesting. Of course, this is often the case in Seven Minutes in Heaven. We don't get to the real part of the game because, going in blind. But interesting to know what was supposed to be happening.
Exactly. It's kind of like watching a weird art house film and then at the end being like, oh, that's what the naked donkey pants were supposed to be about. Don't ask me what naked donkey pants are, people. I don't know. That's the whole point.
Yeah, but you may want to ask your therapist about it, Carl, because that was an interesting free association there.
Random words coming together. And kids, this is the beginning of the recording. Okay, enough of this. You patrons have gotten your extra 14 minutes of content. Let's get back to the episode.